Okay, our next game is Ninja Baseball Batman, which was nominated by Obscure VGS and K Kickflip on Twitter. Developed and published by IREM. It was a coin-op game, an arcade game. And the completely unsubstantiated earliest release date on Wikipedia is September 1993, which sounds about right, but who knows where
With
that was.
With arcade games, you have no idea.
Yeah.
They just
knowing Wikipedia, that could be a U.S. release date, and the game sold like 35 copies in the U.S., so that doesn't even matter.
I also do want to mention that this game is a very unusual, had a very unusual development in that it was co-developed in Japan and America, kind of like Sonic 2 was.
I don't know how much of it was developed in America, if it's just the concept.
All the art was drawn, I think, in America.
The concept and the character art, but not the sprites, were done in the U.S.
There you go.
Yeah, I think it was kind of like a sort of belated attempt to cash in on like the whole. I don't know whether it's like maybe it's too late for Ninja Turtles, but it's like Power Rangers era for North America. I don't know, but my understanding is it was a lot more popular in Japan than it ever was anywhere else.
I don't think it sold a whole lot anywhere, sadly.
I mean, as an arcade rat, as an arcade rat, still to this day, I hardly ever see a cabinet of it. And back then,
you're literally not going to find one. One of the creators or concept artists, the main guy behind it, literally said it sold like 35 copies in the U.S., like 35 whole units in the entire of the U.S.
I think they just missed the beat 'em up window, though. Like, the thing about beat 'em up games is they were basically just like an excuse to like dump licenses on stuff at this point. And that made for some interesting games, but that was kind of what they were.
Games were shifting into the main like arcade game. Like, beat 'em up were kind of.
I do really like
mid '93 is kind of late for a beat 'em up.
Yeah, it didn't stop Capcom from making some more, which are actually very good. But for better or worse, fighting games were starting to take over as like being a sort of game that like people can transgress their violent tendencies upon, and be cathartic. Catharsis, but it's really too bad, because I think that this was also around the time when if beat-em-ups would have continued, people would have learned of the prior mistakes of the genre and really created something that controls smoothly with a lot of variety and creativity to it. And Ninja Baseball Batman, I think, does just that.
I mean, that's something I think Bobinator might want to touch on, because it is kind of a culmination in a way of different styles of beat-em-ups.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a big thing about this, so let me try to explain. Basically, the way I see it, back then you had two schools of thought for beat-em-ups. You had Capcom style, where everything was like super polished and had a lot of depth, knowing exactly how to handle things, lots of hidden moves, which is all good. And then on the other hand, you have the way Konami did, where you're just going to get some friends, you're just going to mash buttons and go crazy and look at all your favorite characters and look at all the wacky animation, and it's not particularly deep, but it's still fun. And this game, I feel, is one of the very few beat-em-ups who can take those styles and put them into something even better.
Well, I think you were saying something earlier about there's a kind of depth to it that doesn't really exist to a lot of beat-em-ups, even of this era.
There are a lot of hidden moves in this game, like a ton, like a lot of Street Fighter style special moves. You don't really see that often.
Well, this is when they were starting to think like, okay, maybe one punch and one jump button, maybe that's not enough. Maybe we need to add like something to the game to make it more interesting.
So would you say that this game is more complicated or on the same level as something maybe like the Dungeons and Dragons beat 'em ups?
It's below it, definitely. It doesn't have a stupid giant inventory.
Yeah, nowhere near that overly complicated. NBBM at least does keep things very fast-paced and easy to understand, while still being colorful and also following a premise to its very ends. Like one of my favorite games now is Enter the Gungeon, where the vast majority of the enemies are bullets who have guns that fire at you. Well, this game has you fight baseballs and bats and other baseball-related gear as living enemies.
Yeah, it's
and it
very
doesn't let up
whimsical.
on that. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we should also note that the Batman has absolutely nothing to do with the superhero, but that's all about baseball robots beating the crap out of each other, because they're bats and they're men, I guess? Well, robot men, but it's a slight bit of a misleading name. I mean, I guess the SEO on it nowadays would probably be overridden by the actual Batman, but this game really can't be overlooked because it's just, yeah, like you said,
Shining
whimsical.
star of the genre.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. Do you guys want to talk about ranking it?
Whoa,
We got
already?
a while. We got like
Slow.
No, too soon, too soon.
I
No.
haven't even told you what happens in the game.
Oh, yeah. One day, 6 baseball items were stolen from the Baseball Hall of Fame by a secret society called... How's that pronounced now? Jado? Yeah. Jado, the commissioner of the hall, asked Ninja Baseball Batman to return the stolen items. Wait, that's it. Huh, I thought that was more. Well, anyway, yeah, you're getting these mighty MacGuffins back from the baseball hall in, I believe, New York, and yeah, you
Which
are
is not where it is.
Oh, or was it Chicago? Crap, I can't remember. It's been a while since I played.
You did go to Chicago, and I would like to say what I like about this game is you go like a lot of beat 'em ups. You go like different parts of the country, but every stage is like cartoon stereotype to the max.
Oh, yes. I mean, oh man, what are some examples we can get? I mean, there's one level that takes place in Vegas, and you're beaten up by giant playing card robots, and then
That's awesome.
the boss of that level is actually a slot machine also.
I created these playing card robots for good, not evil.
Yeah, I mean,
Perversion of science is this?
it's very high concept.
Did the stolen baseball artifacts, are they actually specific artifacts? Or are they...
Yeah, there's
yeah.
like a pair of shoes, there's a glove, a hat, a bat, a couple other
Oh, it's not like
things.
Jose Canseco's steroids and Barry Bonds' steroids.
No, but the full robots are
And Mark McGuire's.
Steroids.
No, Cal, go ahead.
Well, the
Ooh,
full-
dingers.
They are named after famous baseballers. I believe at the time they were popular baseballers, was it? I'm not 100% sure. I don't know anything about baseball. I'm Australian, but...
Well, yeah, there's actually, most of these guys appeared on the Homer at the Bat episode of The Simpsons. Captain Jose after Jose Canseco, Beanball Roger after Roger Clemens, Stick Straw related to Daryl Strawberry. The odd one out is Twin Bats Rhino, who's named after Ryan Sandberg, who I haven't even heard of before playing this game, but, you know, you gotta have your oddball group. And, you know, they fill the archetypes that you'd expect from this game, where Jose is balanced, Ryan is fast, Roger's bulky but slow, and Strawberry has the long bat stick, which he uses like a bow staff. So, like, they're not selling short the ninja concept either. It's just, although I'm not sure it's a ninja move to jump around the screen tossing dynamite, but you can do that, I believe.
That's awesome.
Yep. No, this game is really just awesome to find. I mean, you know, it looks kind of cute. It looks pretty cutesy from a distance, but no, it's a lot more. It plays a lot more in depth than most of its contemporaries, and it also controls really well. I mean, like Bob was saying, it looks gorgeous, but it doesn't compromise its appearance for gameplay either. And I don't think nearly enough beat 'em ups have ever done that.
I mean, the bosses are amazing in this game. You fight like a giant plane that I think shoots planes at you.
And you fight him inside a plane too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you fight him inside a plane.
It's Planeception. And there's admittedly a pretty obnoxious boss, but a pretty fun one in visual appearance. A poltergeist who cobbles itself together from like chandeliers and violins and a giant bull's head.
And a refrigerator.
Oh yeah, right. Now that was its main
And
body.
it's important to note this is set in Texas, which is apparently haunted, according to the game.
Maybe that's a nod to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Because it's like, yeah,
anyway.
like the whole Texas level is like, it's themed after horror movies. It's got like zombie baseballs and all this stuff, and it's like, it's in Texas. Most of the game takes place in America, although I think that you go to Tokyo or Kyoto or something.
Oh, no. All of it actually takes place in America, surprisingly. I mean, like Bob, like we said, like this had an odd meeting. I mean, it feels It almost feels like it's one of those games where it's like what Japan thinks about America and its cities, but it is actually surprisingly played in, I think, a rather, for the most part, a cute and fun way, and not really discriminatory. Although the Chicago level being filled with 1930s gangsters might be a little edgy. Also, the gangsters all happen to be shaggy dogs for some reason. I don't know what was up with that exactly, but it is what it is. I'm not going to question it.
Maybe
the last boss of the game is, of course, Babe Ruth, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah. Can I spoil this? It turns out that the 6 baseball items you got are filled with some sort of ancient power or something, and the jerk-ass commissioner who told you to get those in the first place turns out to be evil. Big surprise. So he takes the fully formed baseball statue and makes a giant Babe Ruth robot out of it for the final battle. Pretty tough bastard, too, and this is like one of those games where it just sounds like everything I'm saying is bullshit, but no, it's just that in the 90s, games were allowed to be this crazy.
And this is why I'm so big on this game. Like, let's look at Final Fight. I mean, it's pretty, it's a good game, but, I mean, where do you go? Streets, boardwalk, subway.
Final Fight was
in a wheelchair with a crossbow.
I mean,
yeah, we have to wait until the final boss for that.
Final Fight really is an adaptation of something like the Warriors, kind of like, and so was Renegade. I mean, its predecessor. In a lot of ways. I mean, it's emulating a certain type of movie and feel.
Well, I can appreciate that. I'm just saying that this game is just so visually exciting, distinct, that you want to play, just see all the weird and crazy things that are going to happen.
Right, which
that
makes
gives
it
you
like
a drive
kind of
to finish it.
Yeah, which makes it which is what beat 'em ups should have been at that point. I guess before we rank it, I do want Bob Mayer to kind of go a little bit more in depth of how the mechanics of the game differ from other beat 'em ups.
You have a lot of moves you don't typically see in most beat 'em ups. You do have a dash, you do have a ground attack. You can also attack while you're getting up, which is really useful at some points. You've got a couple of super moves that take off a huge chunk of your health but do a ton of damage. And you have another handful of special moves beyond that. Like, I know Roger, the slow, strong guy's special grab.
See, to me, this game is like the sexy Parodius of beat 'em ups, because
hey, good comparison.
It is like Sexy Parodius is one of the best shooters ever made, but it's still a parody of something else. It's still a playoff of something else. It's a extremely polished but very cartoony and very lively version of something like even the map screen looks like Final Fights.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point. I mean, at its core, it was kind of hard for the beat 'em up genre to evolve past Final Fight, so you do have to give it that credit, but I don't necessarily mind if a game isn't fully original, just as long as it does the formula right, if not better than its predecessor, and I think that's what NBBM totally accomplishes. I mean, I know Xerxes doesn't always agree with that, but, well, I don't know if Xerxes wanted to say anything about beat-em-ups in general and how NBBM relates to it.
I do want to say one more thing.
Yeah, sure.
I would definitely say this is like the best of Irem's beat 'em ups.
Oh yeah, they actually made 3 others prior to this. Blade Master, which was kind of slow. Hook, based off of the Robin Williams Rest in Peace movie, that was actually surprisingly all right. And Undercover Cops, which I think is also a really good game, has a great style to it. And
how about Spartan X or Kung Fu Master?
Oh, right. I sort of consider like 2D beat 'em ups like that to be almost a different thing, but that's true.
The thing with Undercover Cops is that it's good, but it gets really boring near the end.
The final stage in it sucks, admittedly, but and Ninja Baseball Batman never slows down like that. I think that on the whole, I can't really remember any low spots in that. I mean, actually, a lot of beat 'em ups sort of have this caveat where you've seen everything there is halfway, and the rest of the game's just kind of slugging it. But no, for this one, it's held my attention.
There's a strong I mean, if you're gonna make a beat 'em up like for arcade, like you want to put all your best stuff at the beginning. You really want it to be kind of top heavy.
Yeah, that's the case for a lot of arcade
That's
games.
what everybody's going to see, and then they're going to run out of money, and then they're going to stop. And you don't want to put too much effort at the end of the game because most people aren't going to see that.
You know what the art style reminds me of?
This game too a lot. This is one of the reasons no one really cared that much about it. It is quite a challenging game to get through, especially if you're not willing to burn through a lot of money.
You know what the game's art style reminds me of? It reminds me of Airzonk.
Ooh.
Anybody ever played Airzonk?
Yeah,
I love Airzonk. It's my favorite shooter on the TurboGrafx 16.
Yeah, it just has that same, like, exaggerated, like, and even, like, kind of like the same color palette. Like, it's
definitely.
Very bright, very colorful. Almost too bright and colorful in a lot of ways. It's sometimes hard to distinguish the characters from the background. But that's neither here nor there. Where do we want to put this?
Here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, how about between Alien Soldier and Super Castlevania 4?
I think you're in a good near a good spot there because Final Fight though is something that's set the pace for this kind of game though, and I think we should take that into consideration because Final Fight was what this game kind of like Wolfenstein is to Doom, you know. Even though
I mean, to be honest, I don't really know what Final Fight does better than this game. Even if Final Fight is still good,
it's culturally relevant. That's it. Final Fight changed the way that type of game was made.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I also do feel that how a game plays is sometimes more important than what a game does necessarily. So I'm obsessed with refinement, which is why I like my Mega Man 4 a lot better than a lot of other people do. But oh, shut up! We'll get to that sometime. Oh, F off, Xerxes, come on. All right, I'm
Sideshow Bob coming here.
Let's yeah. Okay, I mean, all right. I'm in the Alien Soldier Castlevania 4 range. I can see that.
I mean, I'm not putting the game down at all. I think it's great. I mean, there are a lot of other great beat 'em ups. That come right into this area. Like, I mean, Aliens vs. Predator is right there with...
That would actually be my number one favorite beat-em-up of all time. Not that's necessarily better than NBBM, I just personally really like it and sort of have a personal attachment to it.
There's some really great beat-em-ups that come after that.
Definitely.
RPG mechanics and stuff like that, like Guardian Heroes and Castle Crashers and Scott Pilgrim and games like that. And Double Dragon Neon's really great too.
That game's way better than Castle Crashers.
Definitely.
Just FYI.
I didn't like Castle Crashers that much. I think it's kind of all flash, no gameplay.
Who would rank it above that spot?
Honest, I would put it below Space Harrier, to be perfectly honest. That's where I would put it.
I can live with that.
I kind of agree. So let's
You think it's better than Yoshi's Island?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I know if Jeff were here, he would definitely say so.
I would say it's definitely better than Crash Bandicoot 2, but Yoshi's Island is a fantastic game, and it's very similar in a lot of ways.
That's true. I think maybe we jumped the gun a little bit here
because Yoshi's Island it is a refinement of everything that was learned during that console generation for that kind of game, and it also does the same kind of thing that this game does. In that regard, and also has...
Keep in mind, though, like Yoshi's Island was ranked pretty low, I think. It lower than I expected.
Yeah.
That was mostly because...
the same thing for Final Fight.
That was mostly because of Jeff, our editor, who actually kind of hates Yoshi's Island, so blame him, send all your hate mail to...
Well,
we put it there, that's why we put it.
Yeah,
that's
it's science.
So.
It is science. Yeah. So,
I think it's okay to put it above Yoshi's Island, just in the sense that I would justify it just saying, like, you know what? There aren't that many truly good beat 'em ups. Like, I love this genre, but most of the games are garbage.
I mean, Yoshi's Island 2 is not the best platformer, but Ninja Baseball Batman's very close to the perfect shmup experience. Not shmup.
Beat 'em up, brawler,
Perfect
belt
beat 'em
scroller,
up
what have you.
shmup experience. And it's full player, which I think is a hugely.
Oh yeah, we totally forgot to mention that. Oh my gosh.
Full players. That's really great.
Yeah.
And I will say, hot take, definitely a much better 4-player experience than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's true.
Wholeheartedly.
It's a better game than both arcade Ninja Turtle games. I don't know about the Super Nintendo version of Turtles in Time, but
that's still really good though. Yeah.
The Turtles in Time was really cool. It had a lot of cool set piece type things to it. But yeah, I'll give it to you. Like, Ninja Baseball Batman, it's a wacky, crazy, zany game that you're not going to ever see anything like it again. It's kind of the last of its kind, first and last, in a lot of ways. It's a very good beat 'em up, and that's a genre that's underrepresented on our list. And people should play it. More people should play it.
Yeah,
you don't need to convince people to play Yoshi's Island. Everybody knows that game is good.
There's actually quite a few other Yoshi games that are very similar. Like the new Yoshi game's great too. I mean,
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But there aren't a lot of beat 'em ups being made, and for that matter, if you want to play something really interesting in this genre, try Ninja Baseball Batman. More people should play it. Do you want to put it above? I'm okay with putting it above Space Harrier, below Worms Armageddon.
All right.
Okay.
I know Jeff's gonna literally lay an egg listening to this.
He's going to scream and melt your face off with a giant stream of blood.
I mean, look, I'll say this: there's not one design in Ninja Baseball Batman that is better than the Cyclops Mammoth.
Fair point.
Also, not
also
quite
a
enough
double-headed
for my taste as well.
A double-ended wormy dragon, which is awesome.
But then again, Space Harrier doesn't have poltergeists cobbled together various household parts in a giant bull's head, so it kind of evens out.
Like Babe Ruth at the end, which wouldn't make Space Harrier a little bit better.
Space Harrier also has a lot of improvements that were made upon it, like with things like Panzer Dragoon, long after it,
True. Okay. So I think I can live with this as long as nobody disagrees.
Okie doke. I'm good with it.
So
I'm outgunned.
Ninja Baseball Batman goes
Batman
right above Space Harrier, right below Worms Armageddon. Yeah!